Hi guys,
Hello.
happy Sunday. She got new hair.
Yes.
I didn't. So we're gonna talk about few a few different topics tonight. Um, every week is so interesting because there's so many different things that happen, um, lessons that are learned. I mean, we have reoccurring themes in both of our lessons every single week, so there's always something to take away. Hey, Dave. Hi, Emily. Hi, Kim. Good to see everybody on here. What's up, Dave? Hope you're feeling better, brother. And hi, Tina. Richard, what's going on? So, tonight we're going to be talking about patience, past lives, and staying focused on the now. And this goes for life, this goes for relationships. And, the one thing that we both have to practice every day and every week is patience, because there are certain things that come up in both of our lives where it's like the universe is just literally just going back and forth with us. So we wanted to talk about the importance of remaining patient in life. So why don't you start us off?
Yeah, that can go with so many things. Patience is a common lesson for me because, I have so many expectations of things that I want to get done and so many things that I want to do and so many things that I feel like I should be a certain place at a certain, point in
Yeah.
my life. And a lot of times I struggle, with having patience with all of that. And it's just come up a lot lately, with both of us. And I think it's funny because I always tell Scott that my lesson that always knocks me on my butt, is either patience, or for me, it's always money. So I think the patience thing is just something that we should really talk about. And, when we were trying to decide what topic to talk about, patience is such a good one. It comes in all shapes and forms. And whether it's day to day or it's, like in a relationship, like having patience with, you
Business or
know,
whatever.
everything. Yeah, it's an important thing to talk about. So
Yeah, so hey Bonnie, what's up, Randy? Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Hi, Melissa. Hey, Rach, what's up, Cuz? Hi, Justin. And it's funny, we've been home for about an hour and 10 minutes. And
it was a crazy weekend.
we were supposed to do this live at 8:30, but I was working on some stuff. She was working on some stuff. Then I was working through some stuff. She was working through some stuff. And it, it just kind of, we just had to have our own little private conversation first. But we got our first menorah tonight. My mom presented Nancy with her first menorah. So she's Jewish whether she likes it or not. And she even wrapped candles. Like, this is what my mom does. It's ridiculous. So anyway, happy Hanukkah to all those that are celebrating. Anyway, so patience it's such an interesting thing because there are so many times that you will be tested every day with so many different things. And today was like one of those. Today was just one of those days. Like, nothing bad happened, but it was just it was a nonstop day where we were like literally up at 6 a.m. and not by choice, by Taylor. And we didn't get home until 8:30. So it was like a 14 and a half hour day. And like literally there was no time to focus on any, like, there were things that I had to get done that I didn't. There was things that she had to get done. But at the end of the day, we sat down and we were talking and reflecting. And we're like, man, these are first world problems here.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a sense of a reality check for us that, hi Debbie, that, if this is some of the biggest struggles that we're going to have to go through, then we're going to look back on this and we're going to be like, what the hell was wrong with us? Because, but here's the thing, that's not to diminish what we're going through isn't important, or anything that you guys are going through is not important. But, we have big goals. You know, we want to buy our first home together. We want to start a family. We want to plan our wedding the way that we want to plan it. And that all involves something that we're both getting hit with, which is patience and money. Hey, Bruce, hi, birthday girl, just saw you jumped on.
Jody!
And go Sixers, I saw they won. And it's just one of those things where, you know, and I said to Nancy, we're going to have all that. You know, we're going to have our house. You know, we're going to have our family. We're going to, you know, do all of those things that we want to do, but they're going to happen when they're supposed to happen. And we're, you know, I think it's a bigger change for her. I mean, it's a change for both of us because, you know, I've been a single father. You know, I mean, I've been dating when I've had my son, but like this is the first time that I've actually had a family to do it with, and it's been, you know, a big change for both of us. But in the same sense, she's such an independent person that she's used to working through things on her own and just having to figure it out. And I mean, I did say to her, listen, I'm gonna hold your hand, but I'm gonna assist you walking through this, and you're gonna get it done, but you're not gonna go through it alone, right?
Yeah. So
Patience is one of those things that must be practiced every single day. And, you know, I had to take, you know, it was, I mean, funniest thing, we picked up my grandmother for Hanukkah, and my grandmother and GPS just don't get along. They just don't like each other. My grandmother feels there's no need for GPS. She feels that you should know how to get to where you're going. So so the tradition now is I pick her up with Taylor and Nancy before we go to any family thing. So whenever I get in the car, she always says, "So which way is your GPS going to take us now?" and she's always looking at the screen. She goes, "I don't see anything happening. Where is it taking us?" And I said, "Well, it's probably going to have us go to 76 and go that way." And she goes, I want to go that way. I would take Lancaster Ave through here and go down there. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to turn off the GPS. And I said, Mom, all right, let's do it. Let's go your way. And about 20 minutes into the ride, she said, we should have listened to your GPS.
She actually was like, oh, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah,
she was like, I should have just like.
She goes, don't mind me, I'm just talking to myself. And I just, you know, I was very patient. We ended up being about 35, 40 minutes late for the Hanukkah party, which wasn't a big deal. And I said, Mom, it's not a big deal. We're going to get there when we get there. And I remained patient. We were actually talking about it on the ride home. And Nancy said something really interesting to me. She said, you know, she goes, I just have to you know, commend you for having such patience, because that's what a leader does. You know, you could have said, no, Mom, we're just going to go by the GPS. But you actually, as a leader, you step back and you let her take the helm and figure out along the way that the way that I was probably going to go was the best way to go. But I didn't diminish the way that she wanted to go. I didn't turn back around and go the other way. I followed through with what she said. And I said, you're right. Like, I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, being a leader, if you think about it, takes incredible patience. And a good leader does kind of let their team or let their, you know, the people that are working with them, they kind of move the spotlight off themselves and they shine it on other people. And it takes a lot of patience. And I think about that with children too. You know, again, I'm kind of learning things as I go, you know, with Scott and Taylor. And like today, for example, you know, we wrapped Christmas presents. And do you know how easy it is for me to we wrapped Hanukkah presents, but right, like how easy it is for me to just cut some paper and, you know, wrap it up and tape it and be good to go. But today, you know, Taylor said he wanted to help. So I sat with him and I, you know, told him how to cut away from himself, you know, and be safe and, you know, to cut on the lines, which thank God they were gridded, you know, like on the back of the thing. So we had something to go by. And he sat there and he did it. And each time we wrapped a present, he got better. right? And that's what a leader does. And honestly, again, we're tying everything to relationship, but like that's what a good leader does is they take the time to and the patience to explain things and understand that someone's not just going to get it right away. In a relationship, it's the same thing, right? You know, there might be someone who's working through a problem. You know, I had my things. I mean, right before this, I had a little like, you know, like a little breakdown with Scott. And I was like, you know, let's talk about this. It's on my mind. I'm kind of going through it right now. And then he kind of had his thing. And it's like we both kind of worked through it together. And instead of me being impatient with him and saying, oh, you shouldn't feel this way, you know, blah, 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 like get over it. Like, it's not that. It's actually like having the patience to listen to each other and to say, you know what? I know you're really upset right now. I know it's something that's happened before. Talk to me about it. You know, let's bring it down. Let's take the emotion out of it. Let's really just hash it out. And it's so incredibly important in a relationship too. I mean, having Scott, and I kind of almost threw a little fit because like I was getting ready to tell him something and he kind of like started typing on the computer and I'm like, well, you know what? I guess
Well, I caught it too.
Like, but it's like, I mean, we caught it. We ended up, you know, obviously having.
Well, I said because like I was going through something and she was going. I'm like, listen, here's the deal. This isn't going to work. Like you can't be going through something and I can't be going through something at the same time because it's just going to keep going like this. So I'm going to let go of my shit right now so we can focus on yours because it's just not going to flow that way. But the other thing, like we went to go see my therapist earlier this week. And we had such a great experience. Like, I love my therapist to death. She's she's seen me through everything. Like, I mean, she's literally seen me at rock bottom and she's seen me now at the pinnacle in being with Nancy. And, you know, obviously I think she started off, she's like, Nancy, when he used to come in here, he was a puddle in that corner over there and he was slouched over and now but it was great for us because we wanted to make sure that we had that third party advice from someone outside looking in, because as we go into, you know, becoming a family together, wanting to raise our own children and, you know, raising Taylor together alongside of his mother, we wanted to make sure that, like, you know, all of our I's were dotted and our T's were crossed, because we didn't want to like hit those walls and fall back. We wanted to continue to keep driving forward. And, you know, it was so interesting. We were talking about it with her and we're like, when people hear the word therapy, they think it's such a dirty word. And she goes, I know. She goes, there's such a stigma around therapy. And here's the thing. When people go to physical therapy, they're like, ew, is there something wrong with you? Why are you rehabilitating your shoulder? That's so, are you okay? Is everything all? So therapy means therapeutic. So it's always, and, you know, the way that she says it now is that, like, you know, a lot of people say, I'm seeing someone to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Because think about it. That's all you're doing. You know, you're just going to just have conversations. So she does no have you trained. Bruce, I think there might have been a typo there. I'm trying to read what that says. Retype it though, because I definitely want to read it. But the fact is that, you know, we just had such a great experience, because therapy is great. You know, oh, not yet. So she does not yet. Oh, have you trained? No, she doesn't. Not yet. And the fact of the matter is therapy. It's so good to just always be on the same page with your partner. And I think that's what makes you know, Nancy so special, is that we're always looking to water each other. We're always looking to bounce things off of each other, ideas and everything else. But, you know, patience. It is a virtue, but patience is also a state of being. You know, you have to be patient. You know, especially when you have a 6-year-old running around, like, they don't have patience. You know, when they want something, they want it now. And, you know, you have to do your best just to take some deep breaths and really work through everything.
Yeah, and something that's really been impactful for me lately, and I said this in the car with him too. We had just gone to Target, and remember how I said, like, it's basically, if you keep getting frustrated or impatient about how life is going, like let's say you have kids and your schedule's not exactly perfect and all this craziness is going on and you feel like you don't have a lot of control over everything, if you just kind of embrace the craziness, right? Because it's like if you always know that you're going to kind of have stuff kind of everywhere. And again, a lot of this, the book that I was reading has a lot to do with like moms and dealing with, feeling like they're not good moms because their schedules are all crazy and their kids are everywhere and everybody's a mess. And it's like, guess what? Like stuff is going to happen. Life isn't going to be perfect all the time. I mean, life is rarely perfect or never perfect.
Right.
But if you embrace it, you lean into it and you make that your normal, it becomes way easier to deal with whenever you're just going with it, I'm along for the ride, right? Let's make it fun. So it's like even today, like when certain things like started coming up or happening or like, it was literally like little things throughout the day. It was just like bam, bam,
I just
bam,
kept saying,
bam.
I'm like, man, it's just one of those days. Like,
and it's like instead of being, and I told him it was really hilarious because I just decided I was going to be mellow today. Like I woke up today and I'm like, I am just going to be cool as a cucumber. I'm just like, my energy is going to be like this today. And I was pretty chill.
No, you were
I
good.
fell asleep in the car. Like, like I've just been chill all day. And it's like, you know what?
I was
this
just
is cool.
I was just like, because I was just tested all day with patients. And I mean, it was, again, there were little things, but, they grow. And,
Yeah.
it ended up being all good at the end of the day. Like, it was a wonderful day. We spent time with family.
It was great. Such a good weekend.
It was a great weekend. Had a Hanukkah party yesterday. Saw my cousins I haven't seen in a long time, and it was really a beautiful weekend. So remain patient, the best you can, and again, your patience will always be tested, and you're not always going to win. You're not always going to get an A on those tests, but they're all lessons to get better and better and better. So the second thing we want to talk about, which is it's past lives, and I wanted Nancy to start because she has an interesting story of something that she bought this weekend. It kind of...
Yeah, it was a little strange. More than just a little strange. So just so you guys know, so sometimes in my life, and I bookmarked it, okay?
Well, explain what the book is.
Sometimes, yeah, in my life,
no, she's not Jewish.
So I've had
by
like
association,
odd things happen to me, and they're too strange to ignore. So this weekend, after we went to a Hanukkah party, with Scott, I met up with my cousins and my sister and everybody, and they were doing thrift shopping on South Street in Philadelphia. And so I met up with them, and we had a great time. We basically were just bopping around to different places, and we went into this shop. And it was one of those creepy kind of different, different thrift shops.
No, it
was very strange. It was, no, it wasn't witchcrafty, but it had a lot of ancient, old ancient, artifact-y type stuff. We're talking, it had an old pistol, gun from, from our, the first gun ever made, probably. It had, postcards. It had, little crazy film things. Anyway, I was in this place and I had this strange feeling oh my gosh, I gotta look at this book. And we were getting ready to leave, and here's the book again. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you. It's called The Tennyson Birthday, and it's basically a book of birthdays.
When was it written?
Oh gosh, I don't even know if it says. Here. It was gifted to someone April, okay, I'm just going to show this to you. April of 1899, okay, this was gifted. Now, I want you guys to bear with me whenever I show you the first page that I opened up in this book, whenever I picked it up, okay?
It's really creepy, by the way.
First page I opened it up to, and again, this is a birthday book, right? Wait. See if you can read that name. Okay, it says May 15th, Nancy Evans died, and there's a little 19 next to it.
So
I'm going to repeat that again really quick.
She sent me a picture of this, and I'm like, I'm like, run. I'm like, just run. And she goes, no, I bought it.
No. Okay, so.
And it was for $8.
Okay, the book was, okay, no, here's the fun part. The other fun part. Okay, the book says right here it was $10. It had a little tag inside that said $8 birthday book. In my pocket, I reached into my pocket and I pulled out exactly $8, and that's exactly what I had in my pocket. Holy shit! All right, so just for you guys out there, again, like, okay, this book, open up the first page, it says my name, and it says that I died, and it's got a little 19 next to it. And the date on it, by the way, was May 15th. So that's what it said in there. So that's what happened to me this weekend.
So basically, I'm locking her in the bedroom May 15th.
So, or yeah, I got to change my name or something by then. But anyway, so here's the thing. It got me thinking, and, you know, I love to write, you know, it's one of my creative like outlets. I love to like, you know, write poetry. I love to jot down stuff, whatever. But this situation had me thinking in a way. It's like, what if we all knew, you know, the day or the year or the time like that we were going to die? Like, let's say it was a year from now. Okay. Think about the life that you're living right now. And I wrote this down on my card. How can you wake up? Okay. I feel like these things happen to me, right? This strange thing, again, this book saying, okay, my name, like literally first page I pick up, these things happen, but like, we need to wake up. Let's say I was going to die a year from now, okay? And I only had 1 year left to live. And it's like relationship-wise, life-wise, family-wise. Like, think about that. Like, how would you do things differently? You know, if you have a marriage or a relationship where every day you're fighting and every day something is frustrating you and you're so fucking miserable, okay? Because things just aren't the way, you know, you don't feel like you appreciate each other and you feel like this person and you're just so snappy and nasty with each other. If you only had a year to live, would you put up with that shit? You know, if you only had a year to live, would you be with that same person? If you only had a year to live, would you go to therapy, or would you go to try to fix it or make it better or figure out why you're in that rut or why you feel the way that you feel? I just think it's such a powerful thing to think about is wake up. What kind of life are you living? You know?
It's the truth. I speak about it often, whether it's a Facebook Live or in a post, that each day that we're given is a gift. And the one thing that people too often take for granted is the fact they're going to wake up tomorrow. You know, not every day is a guarantee. There is no guarantee that we're going to wake up tomorrow, or any of you. It's just a fact. And it was something that I heard. He's an Indian yogi. His name is Sadhguru. And it was actually one of the first inspirational videos I shared with Nancy when we first started dating. And I said, you got to listen to this guy. And he's like the Indian, like Santa Claus. Like, he's like this sweet man with this big white beard. And he said, and he said, you know, he goes, the problem with most people is that you all feel that you're immortal. And he goes, you're all wrong. Each one of you in here is mortal. You will die. He goes, I don't want you living till you're 300 years old. He goes,
I wouldn't want to.
He goes, you wouldn't want to either. And he goes, the one thing that I appreciate, he goes, I wake up every morning, and if I can see the ceiling right above me, I say thank you. He goes, because around the world, there are over 1 million people every day. Even though there's people being born every day, there are 1 million people worldwide that do not open their eyes the next day. And he said, every day that you get, you say thank you. And you be appreciative for living. All the little things, all the credit card bills that people worry about, and the holiday parties, and the diets, and all of these things are so unimportant that you don't realize it because that's what you're focusing on. And I'm just giving you an example. Like my grandmother, she's going to be 92 in April. God bless her. She actually took a moment today and she gave a toast, which she never does. She never does this. And she said, the younger kids were downstairs in the basement playing, and it was just like the older cousins. And my grandmother was saying, she goes, I just want to take a moment just to let all of you guys know how thankful I am that all of you guys are here. And I'm able to be here to celebrate another holiday with you guys. She goes, I am so lucky. I'm so lucky to be here. And she goes, in good times and in bad times, no family is perfect. We've all had our issues. And she goes, it's water under the bridge at this point. She goes, we must all forgive and forget because life is too precious to think otherwise. And I just wanted to just say how thankful I am and lucky I am to have all of you guys. And, obviously we all cheers. And it got me thinking, wake up. Like, what if you were given that 1 year sentence? Like, listen, sorry, you got 12 months left. Are you going to worry if you knew that a year from today you were going to leave this earth plane? How differently would your focus on life be starting tomorrow? Think about that. And the only reason why it's hard for you to conceptualize and even think that is because it's not going to happen, or at least you think it won't. But what if it was? What if you had 12 months to live? We will all die someday, but from now until then, we got to live. So live healthy. Absolutely. I mean, Bruce is right. What if you had 12? How differently would you show up tomorrow to your life? How differently would you treat the barista at Starbucks? How differently would you take advantage of the time you had with your family and friends? How differently would your conversations be with your partner or your loved ones? Right?
Yeah. No, it actually reminds me of this movie. I think it's called About Time. About Time.
Is it the one that we watched?
Where
he goes back and
yeah.
Oh,
so that makes
love.
It actually makes me think about that movie. And
Great movie.
For anyone who's seen it, definitely drop in the box, if you've seen it or not. But it's called About Time, and it's got Rachel McAdams and this other British actor. And basically the whole premise of the movie is the men in that movie can go back in time. If they clench their fists and they go in a closet and they can go back and choose any time period or any time of their life and go back. And the whole thing, and I love that movie so much, is because he goes back in time and his dad tells him, after he's been able to do this for a few years, he says the real gift is to go back in time and live a year that you've already lived again every day, right? And he said, go back in time, live every day, but instead of just living it, be more present. And he said, notice everything. And so the guy lived a life a year, and then he went back in time and he noticed everything and everybody. And you see him in this movie, right? Like that whenever he goes back and he enjoys every day, he's saying hello to the barista and he's asking her how her day is, and it's changing her life, and then he's going through, as he's running through this big corridor, he looks up and he goes, oh my God, the architecture, it's so beautiful, and it's like life gets so much better, right? Each time when you pay attention and you're present and you slow down and you have that patience, and it's just so cool. So in the movie, the final conclusion, and the dad, his dad tells him, look, the real sweet spot is to stop having to go back in time. And we all have that gift of living every single day to the best of our ability and slowing down and being present in every moment. And, when things happen and when kids need us and, things like, actually stopping and having that patience to live, like more aware. So
no, it's yeah. And that brings us right to our third and final topic, which is living and staying focused on the now. And if you have not read the book, The Power of Now, by Eckhart Tolle, I highly recommend it. It's one of one of the first books that I read when I was going down my personal development journey that really shifted my mindset, because, he says in the book that, when you live in an anxiety, you're living in the past, and when you're living in stress and fear, you're living in the future. But if you live in the now, which is the present, you live in peace. And there's no better feeling than living in peace. I mean, doing these conversations with you guys also helps me, because I need to hear these things, because sometimes I don't internalize them, but when I verbalize them to you guys, what you have to understand is these are our feelings coming out about things that, like when I say, what if we were given that death sentence tomorrow? Like, it just puts things into perspective for me. Like, I don't need to go back and fix things. I just know the next time it's going to be better. And focusing on the things that you really can truly focus on, all of the important things. And I think those things that are important to people are different for each person, because I think there's different things that feel and mean differently from one person to the next. But what I can share with you guys is that no feelings are diminished. No one thing is less important than another one for someone else. And you have to honor all of those things that are important to you. And for me, my family, Nancy, my son, my family, my friends, my health, are the most important things in my life. All of those other things, the bills and expenses and things that we have to do, it's not that they're not important, but why I get up every day is for those things. Like, I just want to live such a tremendous life, because again, I'm going to say it to you, you don't know when your last day is going to be. And it's not about living each day like it's your last. It's living each day the best. Just making sure that you didn't leave any stone unturned, that you have a beautiful moment every single day. You have time to yourself every single day to reflect and to think and to honor your feelings, and to shed a tear if you need to, or to hug someone if you need to. All of those things are required by each and every one of us every day.
Yep. And I'm such a big proponent of, especially in my journey in the last few years, is sometimes you got to slow down in your busy, crazy life, right? Because everybody's life is crazy. There's always stuff going on. And really seeing the things that are there, the signs, the way that you feel physically, emotionally, and make sure you're taking care of yourself and you're paying attention to those things. So something in my last year that I've really focused on is my emotions. I'm one of those type of people who I usually bottle my feelings and my emotions kind of inside a little bit. And I kind of am inside very frustrated, and I never really let it out. And this year we've made it a point, and Scott's really helped me with it. It's like, no, let your feelings out. If you're sad, if you're frustrated, if you're feeling, sad about something or whatever, just let it out. And it's like, I've been doing so much better, and it's helping so much, because if you're not present in how you're feeling, and you're not present in what is in front of you and what you're facing and what you're going through, and you're too busy having anxiety about this and having stress about this, you are going to burn yourself out to the point of where you can't make good decisions and you can't slow down and set goals for yourself. You're going to paralyze yourself. And that's kind of the situation that I was getting in. And I realized that I needed to slow down, and I need to really process everything and be present, right?
And they say sometimes you need to slow down to speed up.
Totally. So if you feel like that in your life, where you're like, oh my God, everything is crazy right now, take a minute.
Just gotta slow down.
Take a minute and give yourself permission. I mean, whether it's a day off or whether it's, some time where you literally feel like you're kind of burning the candle at both ends, give yourself that time, because I can't tell you how important that is to make sure that you take care of yourself and that you do, be aware of what's going on.
Well, I think the other thing is focusing on your own identity. And there's a lot of times when people get into certain things in their life where you almost forget who you are, and you know what you love. There's some people that just want to be a parent. But they feel guilty about not doing other things. But you have to honor your feelings. Like, don't get lost in what you think you have to do to please other people. Focus on what fills your cup every single day. Because again, this comes back to things that Nancy and I have talked about, which is self-care and self-love. You absolutely have to care for you first. You have to love you first before you can even begin to spread it to other people. And if you haven't seen the movie The Shift by Wayne Dyer, it's on YouTube. Literally, you just type in The Shift, Wayne Dyer, Dyer. I can't tell you how impactful that movie will be for you, especially women. All the women out there that really want to understand maybe about some of the feelings that they're having right now, whether it's being a mom or, being a little bit older and whatever it is, watch this movie. I mean, men too. I mean, I definitely sympathize and can, relate to it, but women.
Yeah.
I mean, it will hit you right between the eyes. And I make it a requirement. I mean, to my new clients from last week, I said, part of your homework is to watch The Shift, and you text me the next day your 5 takeaways. And they both did it. And they said, thank you, I need to watch it again. It really shifts your stuff. Mm-hmm. And Debbie says, so true. When I had my heart attack, I thank God every day I have a second chance at life. I now put things into perspective. What the things that really matter and what doesn't sometimes are out of our control. I needed to accept that. Absolutely. So again, don't lose your identity in what you think other people want you to be. Just be you. You only have to be yourself. And, Nancy wrote something down. It says, take charge of your life. It's almost like you almost wish that you had the most perfect thing to say that's just going to wake everybody up, where they're like, yes.
It's like, how can we get everybody there? Really
quick? It's like, because we read a lot of books, we listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's a lot of the same regurgitated things, but just said
same stuff,
just said in a tone of voice or a different way.
And it's funny too, because
but how many times do you have to hear it where you're like, you know what? Yes.
And it's like the one person at the right moment, even after 10 people said it, it's got to be that moment where you're ready to accept it and you're ready to hear it. Yeah.
So just really, we all have to. It's a necessity for all of us to take charge of our lives and really focus on all the beautiful things that come along with each day.
God, and even in the chaos and craziness, it's so great.
It's the best kind of chaos.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to something that Nancy shared from last week's live. This one guy was complaining about, his daughter, like, not making this team and this, that, or the other. And the guy that he was talking to, like, lost his kid.
Oh, the guy that he was coaching.
Yeah. Like, he would give anything to have a 13-year-old to be frustrated at. And it's those types of things. It's, none of Taylor's cousins wanted to play Pokemon tonight. So I play Pokemon cards with him, even though I don't know what I'm doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. And we just pretended like we knew what we were doing. But I'm not going to miss that opportunity. So just really take charge of your life and start. Don't worry about today. Don't worry about yesterday. Just focus on the amazing fact that if we do get blessed with a day tomorrow, that is a day that you can truly use to change your life forever.
It's true.
Okay.
Hey, you said it. Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not true. It's just my feeling.
No.
I mean, you think it's true.
I do. I agree.
Do you want to add with anything?
Besides
our neighbors upstairs?
Yeah, our neighbors upstairs are crazy.
Hopefully they're not watching this.
Right. So anyway, just the few things that we talked about. Oh man, patience, past lives, staying focused. Just guys, take charge of your life. If you're in a crazy relationship, or relationship,
Get out.
well, not necessarily just straight get out. At least go to
Work on
therapy
it.
first, okay?
Work on it.
You
See if it's worth
salvageable.
fighting.
Are people open? Is there an ounce, of development or anything out of that? Go to therapy.
Well, no.
Step 2.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
You wanted me to talk.
I know.
Okay.
Just really,
Go ahead.
but the first step, if you offer the suggestion to go to therapy and they say no,
yeah,
then you know what you have to do. But if they're open, you go for it, because you got to work. No, I'm sorry. Like, if I wanted to go to therapy because we needed work, and you're like, no, I don't need that. Then, I mean,
well, bye.
Well, you either grow together, or you grow apart. Right? You grow together, you grow apart. Sorry.
So step 1, therapy. And I know, like, everybody thinks like, oh, well, maybe that might not be an option for me, or this, that, or whatever. Everybody has the opportunity. I mean, there's even government counseling that's free. There are, hotlines you can call. There are a lot of things you can do. So no excuses. But yeah, therapy, is one thing. And it's literally just talking about your issues, kind of hashing it out. And sometimes it takes another person just hearing it and going, oh, well, I know exactly why you're saying those things, because,
two
this
people
is whatever.
commented on your hair.
Thank you.
Like
I'm trying to get used to it. It's
I love
definitely different, but I'm starting to get used to it. Thank you. But yeah, so it's like therapy is super important. Number 2, obviously having a relationship, and if things are a little rocky or you're unsure of it, I mean, sit down and just communicate, like, have that conversation. If the therapy thing hasn't happened yet, or it hasn't, whatever, just sit down and talk about it. And if your significant other won't even listen, you gotta kind of
do something
make
about
some
that.
decisions. So anyway, we only have one life to live. Life is short. We're such an advocate. And I know a lot of people, it's funny because, again, we're not relationship experts at all. Like, we are literally just like, here's
sharing
our
our
thoughts.
experiences.
This is therapeutic for us because, it's
Trust
kind
me.
of cool. We're like, hey, here's some things that we dealt with this week. And,
we feel
we
so
wanted to
much
share it with
like
other
we
people.
always feel good after these.
We always feel so good. And if anybody gets anything out of this, it's success, right?
One person, that's it.
Yeah. And here's the thing, we've been together a little over a year. This is our relationship. I always promised that we'd always be transparent, and that's what we try to be. I mean, everybody goes through their things. And I will tell you, the biggest thing for me this week, and I just want to thank Scott, is I freaking love, the thing about our relationship is that we are a team. I love that, like, I just got upset about something and Scott's like, well, guess what? You are not in this alone. We're in it together. And, that's what I wish and I want everybody to have. And I think it's important that you are, with someone that you do have a healthy relationship and you do have a good relationship. So, do the work that's necessary. It's not easy. God, throw kids in the mix and all this other stuff. Again, there's stuff I haven't even gone through, but I can't even imagine, okay, how some people keep it together and keep it sane. So keep on keeping on, And
it's so funny. We said we were just going to pop on here and talk real quick, and meanwhile, 45 minutes later.
We're just like jibber-jabbing away.
But either way, just remember, we love each and every one of you. We truly do, and we love the support that you provide for us every Sunday. And if there's topics that you do want us to speak about, please do. I still have this big calling for men, as far as really enlightening them. There's been all these big movements with women. Like, I feel like there's so many women movements right now, and I think Lori Harder is doing a phenomenal job with A Tribe Called Bliss, and then you have Rachel Hollis's book,
Girl Wash Your Face.
Girl Wash Your Face. Jen Sincero, Peta Kelly, Gabby Bernstein, like all of these amazing women. And I think I've always had this feeling and this calling to do a man's movement, getting men more in touch with their emotional side. It's okay to cry. It's okay to show your emotions. So it's okay to be sensitive. And, if there's things out there, women that you want me to talk to about men, or, my opinions about certain things. I mean, Nancy can tell you that I am not your normal guy. At all. Do I have my guy moments? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm very emotional,
very emotional, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. She knows exactly when there's something going on with me, and I need to talk about it. And guys, we're here for you. We appreciate you. So for those that are celebrating the 8 crazy nights, happy first night of Hanukkah. And then for those who don't, we're getting ready for the next rounds of holidays coming up, and we will see you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.